Lori here. It's July 22nd. It's the first day of Booktubeathon, or the Reading Rushathon. I'm so excited to be participating this week. Today, the first book I'm going to be physically reading when I'm wandering around is going to be Granted by John David Anderson. This book has a character who's not a human, main character who's not a human. I'm also going to go to the park. It's supposed to pour today. It's going to be very, very rainy, so I'm actually going to go listen to the start of Me and You as an audiobook, and then I'm going to go read The Truth About Stacey as a graphic novel and see how far I can get, and then I'm going to come back, do some work for school, and then every hour I'm going to take a couple of chapters and I'm going to read. So I'm still getting work done, but I'm also doing my work, which is the plan. So I'll be sure to update you guys when I come back and let you guys know how much I'm reading and how many chapters. I also am going to include my Empire of Storm chapters in my total, even though those chapters really won't count for anything. They're just going to be added pages to my total. So I'll definitely update you guys later when I come back. I just want to make sure I can get a good maybe 1 or 2 bike rides in before it pours, and I'll update you guys later. Bye. Lori here, I'm back. So I just wanted to do a small update. I did wind up going for a bike ride, and I wound up listening to 2 chapters of The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. This book follows a girl named Paige, and it is the year after her boyfriend died in a tragic accident. So she's kind of in the grief stage. She's kind of like, it's like a year after, so she's kind of coming to terms with everything. And it's the first day of school, so she's kind of, and she makes a list. I love books about lists. Like, I love those types of books, but this book is about a list of things she thinks to like kind of like restart her life. There's a boy that she's interested in. Her grandma is dealing with like Alzheimer's and living in an assisted living facility. She's a boy that she's interested in, and she has a really cool group of friends, which I'm really enjoying. I also did wind up finishing The Truth About Stacey, which I'll insert a picture here. That I really liked the first one. I read the first one in like one sitting, and I read the other one in one sitting, which means I did finish it in sitting in one spot. You didn't have to read it in like one sitting, but you did have to read it in one spot. But yeah, so I did wind up finishing that challenge. I think it's so fun revisiting these books because when I was younger, I really read her Little Sister series more than the Babysitter's Club series. I watched the TV show a lot, like the older TV show, but I mostly read the Little Sister book series, which was my personal favorite. I read those in the boxcars, but I do remember reading these. I just didn't read them as much. But it's just nice, like, re-experiencing this series through, like, another medium, which I'm really enjoying. This one was actually kind of interesting because there was, like, a big group, like, a group storyline. There was, like, another Babysitters Club that formed, and they were, like, kind of competing for jobs. But then Stacey, the lead character in this story, was having a lot of issues with her diabetes, which I thought was another like really good representation moment, and I really enjoyed that. So I did wind up finishing that. So that's my first book done for the readathon, and that's like 144 pages, which I was very proud of. And then I just am about to start Granted. I'm going to do some work, and then I'll read a couple of chapters of this. But this is a book that has a non-human main character. It's a fairy, if I'm correctly, and I think she's the grantor of magic, I think. So I literally read like the first chapter or the first like 4 pages, but once I get some work done, I'll come back and I'll dive deeper into this read. But I'll definitely give you guys an update maybe around lunchtime to let you guys know what I wound up reading, but I'll check in with you guys later. Bye. Hi, it's Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I did wind up getting up to chapter 7 of The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, and I'm really liking it. I think that it's dealing with a lot of like interesting family dynamics, which I haven't actually seen in books before, which I'm really enjoying. I'm loving how she's setting up 2 potential romance love interests, and it's going to be interesting to see who she chooses, and I can't remember who it is, so that's exciting, or like who the book's about, because I know that there's a sequel coming out, but I didn't actually read the back of that book, so I don't actually know who it is, which is nice. But yeah, so I'm really liking that book. I'm loving her group of friends. I'm loving how they're being developed. And I've also made some progress on Granted by John David Anderson, and I'm now on page 54. This book is so compelling, and I'm a big fan of like world building, especially for middle grade, because I think it can be so well crafted. This world is not only so well crafted, but it's also so easy to understand. So basically, you follow this character named Ophelia Diphenia Fidgets, and why she has 3 names is explained in the book. But she basically is a fairy. She's living in a fairy community, and there's a bunch of different jobs in this fairy community. The one job that everyone wants is to be a granter, where you grant wishes. And she's like a new fairy, but in her society, the number of wishes that are granted every single day go down steadily. It used to be like 1,000, now it's like 12. And she's about to go on her first adventure to grant a wish for a little girl who wants something. And I'm just about to get into the part where she leaves the compound for the first time, but I'm really, really enjoying it. This is like a very, very fast-paced read, but the world building so far is like the highlight. So I'm going to go and do some work for school, and then I'm going to come back and read out maybe like 50 more pages, and then I'll update you guys. Here, I'm just checking back in. I did wind up making some progress on The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, and I got up to chapter 8, I think, on that. I'm really liking this book. This book has very similar vibes to me than, or like a similar experience of reading that I had with If I'm Being Honest by Emily Weberly and Austin Sigma Broca, because the character wants one romance, but I want a different romance. And in that other book, I got the romance I wanted, but I don't know if it's going to happen in this book. But I'm really enjoying it so far. It's definitely dealing with a lot of like grief issues. It's also dealing with like a parent dynamic trope that I haven't seen a lot. Like, it's just interesting. Her friend group is really interesting, and yeah, I'm really liking it, and I'm enjoying it. I did wind up finishing The Truth About Stacey. I did say that, and I will definitely come on here and give you guys my page totals at the end of the night. And then I also made some progress on Granted by John David Anderson, and I got up to page 108. This book is just so cute. I really am impressed with the world building. I think it's just such an easy world to float into, but so much information. I just love that that it's a fairy as the lead character. She finally is on Earth, and I'm just loving her interaction with like all of like these elements that I see every day, but to see it through the eyes of like maybe like a child or like a fairy, it's just really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. It's such a fun and charming read, like a very, very whimsical read, and I'm excited to see how this book progresses. I'm definitely going to read a little bit more, but yeah, it's just a fun read. Right now, without The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, which I listened to about 7 chapters of, I have read about, let me just see, I can tell you right now, like my page count without that, 108. I have read, without those chapters, I have read about 252 pages, which I know I've read more of with that listening. I just don't know the number, so I'm trying to figure that out, but it's hard because I just have an audio, like I just have like an audiobook, and it doesn't tell me page numbers, so I'm trying to figure that out. But I'll definitely check back in when I'm done for the evening and give you guys all my totals. Hopefully I can figure out that chapter, or I'll guesstimate. But I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Checking back in. So not including Granted, which I'm still in the middle of reading, and I'm probably going to read for the rest of the evening, with the pages from The Start of Me and You, which someone on TV on Brown finally gave me the page to count to, and The Truth About Stacey. Just today, I read 269 pages, and that's not including Granted, which I got to page 124 right now. This book is just so charming. There's like no other word to describe this book but charming. It's just so nice to be in like a fairy's head, because the fairy's in like a real world, and she basically, she's a fairy, she's a granter. So once in this world, once you're a granter, you get clients, and you have to go grant their wishes. So you have to find the object that the person wished on, and you have to like put magic on it, and that's how the wish is granted. So she has to find the object, but the object keeps getting taken and moved into different places. So she keeps like following this object, and she just keeps seeing more of like more of the world. And it's just so charming. Like, I'm really loving it. I don't know how this book's gonna end. I know that there's like a timeline that she has to keep, but it's just so charming. I'm really, really enjoying this book. It's just like such a fun read. I'm really liking it. So I doubt I can finish this all tonight. I might, but I doubt it. But it's just a charming read. So I'm watching some much older booktube videos that I've seen before, and I'm just reading. I've also been watching a few episodes of Veronica Mars. But really right now I'm just kind of watching booktube videos because I've watched them before. But yeah, it's just such a charming read. I'm really, really great that this came on my radar through Owl Crate Jr. because they put it in a box a couple months back. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this book a lot. So I'll be sure to update you guys before I go to bed. But right now I'm really enjoying this read, and it's such a fun read for a readathon because it just keeps wanting me to turn the pages. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm just checking back in. Sorry I didn't update last night. Our power was having issues and the computer was having issues. But yesterday I did wind up reading 771 pages, which I'm super excited about. And I actually did read a little bit more, so now I'm on page 212 of Granted. This book is a pure adventure. It's a whimsy adventure. I'm loving all the issues that are coming into this little fairy's path. I love how she found a new companion, which I'm really, really enjoying. And I'm really enjoying the ride. I'm actually going to do the BookTube video challenge today, so I'm going to go work on that. I'm going to go post that, so make sure you go check out that. And I'll see you guys later for another update. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. It's so late. I wound up going to the gym, and then I went to go see Lion King, which I actually really liked. And I did wind up finishing Granted by John David Anderson. This book was adorable. I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was just such a fun read. I really just fell for this book. I loved how it had a non-human main character. I love how this book definitely was like an adventure book, but it also was an unexpected adventure book. Like, there was some twists and turns in this book that I did not predict. There was one element that I kind of called out at the start, but I just didn't predict how it was going to turn out. But it was such a charming read. And I've been very obsessed with the fairies recently because from the Cruel Prince series and another series that I read. But this book was just pure charm. Like, it was just such a fun adventure story with with good fairies, I would say. So I wound up finishing this read, which is like 140 pages, I think. That's I read like on a bike after I took a bike ride, and most of the time when I was in the car. And then my mom and my aunt needed my help with my cousin's shower, so I put on my audiobook of The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, and I got up to chapter 20 of that book, and I'm really loving that book. This book is definitely becoming one of my favorites of hers. I really enjoyed the names that they gave us, and I did like Open Road Summer, but this book is definitely becoming my favorite. I'm loving the friendship dynamics, which I haven't seen a friendship group that I like as much as the group that I met in this book since The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. But her dealing with all her grief and her issues and her kind of going out of her comfort zone, I'm really loving. I love books that involve like a list. Like, checking stuff off a list or going out of your comfort zone. Because that's something that I do, like, if I'm trying to challenge myself. So I'm really liking that. I'm loving the boy situation, and she has 2 potential love interests, and she's finally turned my direction. I won't say it because I don't want to spoil anyone, but I'm really liking that. But yeah, so I got to chapter 20 of that, and I really hope to finish that book tomorrow before I go on vacation. And then I deviated from my TBR a little bit just because I wanted something a little bit quicker. So I'm picking up The Flash Hocus Pocus, which is for my adaptation read, just because it's a little bit shorter, and I could definitely, if I finish this, which I should be able to, I could watch a couple episodes of The Flash tomorrow. But yeah, so I'm really excited to dive into this, and I don't know what season this takes place. I think it's like the 3rd season. Yeah, I think it's the 3rd season this book takes place in. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this. I'm going to watch some BookTube, and I'll definitely check back in with you guys before I go to bed, and hopefully by then I would have identified how many pages I read in the summer, The Start of Me and You, because I don't know yet. But yeah, so my plan right now is to read The Flash Hocus Pocus, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Bye. Guys, it's a little bit later, and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on The Flash Hocus Pocus. I haven't finished it yet. That would have been extreme. But I get it to page 80. The one thing I'm loving about this book is that it delves into topics that you don't always see in TV shows. Like, it really, tackles issues that, I wish the show covered. This book is definitely a little bit different because you don't see Iris in it a lot, which, sometimes happens in the TV show, especially in the first couple of seasons. I don't know if Iris knows if he's the Flash yet. No, you know what? No, she definitely knows that he's the Flash. But she hasn't started working at Star Labs with them yet, so she's not in this story as much. But this book is like super interesting. The plot is really interesting as well, and I'm really liking it. And I'm curious to see like what happens. Basically, it follows this villain named Hocus Pocus, and he's able to control Barry. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. He's kind of on the outs with his job. He's just dealing with a lot. And set right after Zoom, right after I think it's Zoom, right? Yeah, he said it in the first chapter. Um, yeah, it says they just Zoom was defeated. So this is the timeline that we're in, but I'm actually really liking it. It feels like I'm reading like watching a TV show of The Flash, which I'm really liking. And I normally don't like to go to bed when I'm in the middle of a TV show, but I'll definitely be able to make some more progress on this tomorrow, and I'll probably update you guys right before I go to bed. But yeah, right now I just hit page 80, and I'm really curious to see where this story goes. And I also have the Supergirl one on it as well. And tomorrow I'm packing to go on my trip, so I'm gonna bring a lot of books with me because I have like a 14-hour car ride both ways. Well, 8 hours and 8 hours, and I read a lot, and my cousin doesn't, so I'm really excited for that. But I'll definitely update you guys before I go to bed if I remember or if I'm not too tired to let you guys know how many pages I wound up finishing. And then tomorrow morning, I'll give you guys my full totals for Tuesday for the booktubeathon or the reading rushathon. But yeah, that's my thoughts right now on The Flash Hocus Pocus. Just checking back in. I did actually read a little bit more this morning of The Flash Hocus Pocus. I'm now on page 97, which I'm actually really enjoying. This totally reads as like a TV show, and I'm really, really liking that. I'm loving that. I just have to remember what season we're in, so that's the only thing I have to kind of remember because the season we're in now is like totally different than the season. But I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely more of like a formulaic story. But I'm curious to see what happens in it and like how it all wraps up. So yeah, I'm really hooked. I'm about 97 pages in. This book is only like 210 or 200 and like I think it's 220 pages. So it's really not that long. So definitely I hope to finish this book today and then move on to another read. This is my last full day home. I'm leaving tomorrow to go on my vacation. So I'm definitely going. I'm going to bring my laptop. So I'm still debating about that, but I have to run some errands. I have to go drop off some packages. But I'll definitely come back when I'm home and let you guys know how much progress I made on The Flash. And I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I did wind up finishing Flash Hocus Pocus, and I did wind up finishing about 142 pages just of this book today. I actually really like this book. I thought it was really fun floating back into the world of this character from like season 3. What I really like about this book, I thought it was really well crafted, was like it's basically like a season of a TV show. There's like a big villain, and then there's like a little villain. And then, so every book I think is going to have like a smaller villain, but they're all going to kind of connect back to this main villain. At least that's my thought. But I really liked it. I loved seeing the team dynamics. I wish there was a little bit more Iris in this, but I know that she's not working with the team quite yet. But I really liked it. I'm giving it 3.75 stars, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really, really quick read, which I'm really liking this week. So the next book I'm going to dive into is The Wicked Deep by Shira Onshore. This came out last year, and I know it's like a magical book. It has to do with witches and witchcraft. This cover is so pretty, so I'm going to dive into this. This is another shorter one. It's just like 310 pages, so I'm hopeful that I can dive into it. I definitely am going to finish The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. And I'm going to go in for a bike ride in a little bit. And I'm going to go hopefully finish the last hour of that. And I'm going to start this. So yeah, my reading plans are actually doing very, very well. And I'll give you guys a check-in when I'm done with that book and tell you guys all my totals. Well, I'll talk to you guys in a bit for another update. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I did wind up finishing The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. Definitely love that book. I wound up giving that book 5 stars, which I was so impressed with. I just really liked it. I thought it was such like a realistic depiction of like a school year. I very rarely read contemporary novels that are set during like a full school year. It just doesn't happen. I've read one recently, and that was I guess 2. I read Always Never Yours, and I read if I'm being honest. But normally contemporary books that I often read are always set in like the summer or like over a break or something. So it was really nice like seeing like and especially over like a year. Like I really like seeing the development of this relationship. I love slow burn relationships. Like that is something that I love. I don't like quick romances because I think that they can sometimes feel cheap and contrived. But this one was not like that. And I really, really loved it. I love that Paige was still dealing with a lot of things like grief. She had a lot of stuff going on with her parents and her grandma and, dealing with her ex's death, which I thought was heartbreaking. But then you see her take a chance and do all these new things. And I love books about lists. I've said that before. Definitely love that. I actually packed my TBR for the trip, and I think maybe I'll do like a clip for you guys to see what I'm taking. Mind you, I always overpack with books because I never want to be without books, and I am in the middle of a readathon, and we are going to have like a lot of car time, so I'm going to show you my TBR of what the books I'm bringing. I probably won't read them all, but I need to have options. So I literally just started The Wicked Deep by Shara Anshar. I'm now on page like 16, so I really don't know much about it, but I know that it is a creepy novel, and I really want to read Winterwood, so, and this is also, the prompt is read an author's first book. Typically, I like to read books in publication order, so hopefully I'll be able to tackle this. I actually also did a bit of planning for school when I got back. This is the book that I'm working at now. Chemistry Connects to the Arts. And for those that don't know, I was a technical theater major in college and high school. I was a technician, I was a stage manager, and I was trying to find a way to incorporate more design elements in my curriculum. So this was an idea that I'm making. So I love this book. It's so easy to understand. So I'm making packets. I actually when I come back, I'll have a month more break when I come back. So by then I'm going to really start planning and organizing. So hopefully this book will be almost done. It's actually really, really short. It's not even 100 pages. But yeah, so this is what I'm working on. But yes, I'm going to take the rest of the night off. I'm probably going to watch some older booktube videos and tackle The Wicked Deep. But I want to show you guys my TBR before I get off this computer. This is the reading rush-a-thon, so obviously this is a readathon. But the reading-a-thon ends Sunday, and I will be back Monday night, so I will actually have a lot of time to read. We have a lot of fun things planned too, so I'm hopeful that like tomorrow I can get a lot of reading done and then see how the rest of the time goes. But I always read. I always have a book. That's just how I am. But I am just the books from the TBR that I'm packing. Serpent and Dove by Shelby Matterhorn. This is an author's first book as well, if I wind up having more time. I'm most packing Sadie by Courtney Summers, and I did actually get the audiobook of this book as well, but this is a book that I meant to read last year, and I heard that the audiobook is incredible, and my purple book I am packing is Aurora Rising. So those are the books left on my TBR that I would love to tackle, and then here are books that I'm just packing. I am packing Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas because I do need to finish this by the end of the month, and I have about, I'd say like 100 pages left. I also do have the audiobook for this, but I'm packing this because I just finished this The Start of Me and You. I am packing The Map from Here to There, which is the sequel, and I'm really excited to dive into this. So I don't know, maybe I'll read this on the ride home. And I'm also packing Cinderella's Dress, which is a World War II book about a girl that learns she's the keeper of Cinderella's dress. And I know that there is a Cinderella Shoe, which is the sequel. I got this a while ago. I got this like close to 3 years ago, the first time I found Book Outlet. But I know that this is a historical fiction book, and I've actually been wanting to dive into historical fiction reads more, so maybe I will read this and love it. And then I'm also packed Legendary by Stephanie Garber because I actually did really like Caraval. I'm really excited to see Tella's point of view in this book. But yeah, I'm really excited. And then my books that I pack that are like a little bit more goal books, but I did pack, I am still reading Ninth House. I did actually pack that, and I have about, I would say about like 200 more pages left in this, so that is a book that I'll probably read towards the end of the month. And then I also did pack The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern because I'm trading with someone for this, so I need to read it sooner rather than later. But these books are kind of important, so I'm putting them in my book sleeves. But yeah, so that's my plan right now. Those are all the books that I'm gonna bring. I am gonna bring my the audiobooks that I have, and I do have the app on my phone, so I might wind up bringing that, or I might just toss my Kindle in my bag, which is probably what I'll do as a backup plan. I am also going to bring my computer as well. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Lori here. I'm officially about to go on vacation. I'm going to Virginia with my cousin, but I just wanted to check back in. I have decided I am going to bring my laptop just because I want to still give you guys updates for this reading blog, and I know that if I don't bring my laptop, that won't happen. So I am still reading The Wicked Deep. I am going to read that on the car ride there, and then I'm probably going to pick up another book. But I did start listening to Sadie, which I highly recommend listening to it because I have a thing about audiobooks. I mostly prefer to read books, but if your audiobook has a full cast recording, I will totally listen to it because it reminds me of like being on like a podcast, and I love podcasts. So this book is like the perfect balance. So it's about this girl named Sadie, and her sister is murdered, and she's like going to find out why her sister was murdered or who killed her sister. So you follow one point of view, which is hers, and then you have the second point of view, which is a podcast about this story. And I'm so hooked on this story. Really, really, I'm like 4 chapters in. I'm about to go listen to the 4th chapter after I get done filming this. But the thing did not know this about this book, but for those that don't know, when I was much younger, and I'm talking about middle school and high school, I stuttered. I stuttered. I had a lot of learning issues, but stuttering was one of my biggest things. You still see me in real life, sometimes I still do stutter, but this girl, like, literally has that issue, and I've never, in all of my time reading, and I've read a lot of books, I've read close to, like, I would say at least 1,000 books in my life. I have never come across a book of someone stuttering and having that as, like, a condition. So props to Courtney Summers for representation. It's awesome. But I'm really hooked on this story. I also love true crime podcasts. I listen to them all the time. That's like other than BookTube, that's one of my most videos that I watch. I love the TV show Disappeared, which I think is a crazy, crazy amount of stuff that goes into that, like all the stories that they tell. So yeah, so that's basically what I'm listening to right now. I'm going to go for a bike ride, and then I'm going to read a little bit more of The Wicked Deep, which I'm really liking. It's definitely like a paranormal inspired story. Basically follows this town where 200 years ago, 3 women came to town, and the women in the town thought that they were like making their men cheat on them, and they thought that they were witches. So they wound up like drowning or killing these witches. And in the subsequent years, every subsequent summer, the women they think have inhabited the teenage girls in the town, and then they have killed 3 boys every single summer. So you follow this girl named Penny, and she lived on this island her whole entire life. They're about to come up to a summer with this new thing, where a new series of people are taken over, and a new bunch of boys dies, and a new boy comes to town, and he is highly skeptical of these events. So that's the book. That's where I am in that book, and I'm about like 100 pages into that, and I'm really liking that story. It's like a very, very fast-paced read, along with Sadie. So I just wanted to give you guys my updates, and I will probably check in maybe before I leave. Maybe that will be the plan, but I'll let you guys know what I'm up to.
Hey guys, Lori here. I'm in a new location. I'm in Virginia with my cousin. I actually got a ridiculous amount of reading done yesterday because I was driving the whole day. So I did wind up finishing The Wicked Deep by Shara Anjar. Sorry, this lighting is not the best. But I really, really enjoyed this book. This book had a lot of unexpected twists and turns, which I definitely did not predict. And I actually really enjoyed the structure of it. This book was a very, very fast-paced read. I would say this book, definitely would give this book like 4.5, 5 stars. I thought it was really interesting, really compelling. The world building was like on point. This is the first book in like a really long time that has truly surprised me. I did not expect this book to read this way. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very, very well-crafted mystery, and the surprises were surprising, but they weren't like, they made sense with the story. So I'm giving this book like 4.5 stars. Definitely gonna read The Winterwood by her because her book was, this is the first book I've ever read by her, and I really enjoyed it. The next thing I read, it wasn't really for like, I just had it. I started reading, I read Memento by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is the prequel novella to Illuminae. I would definitely say this is definitely a prequel novella. I liked it. I didn't love it. We got a few cameos from previous characters, but I would have preferred a novelization that focused on the characters that I love. But it was very interesting seeing how the situation on Illuminae happened. So I really enjoyed that. I wound up giving this 3 stars. This actually isn't on Goodreads, so I don't know how I'm gonna put this on Goodreads. And then late last night, because so just as a note, hold on, I'll recap. I don't know how many pages I read. I think I read like 150 in The Wicked Deep. Oh, so I read 150 in the. I read about like 200 pages in The Wicked Deep, I'll say. I don't remember honestly what page I stopped at last night. So I got about 150 in The Wicked Deep. I read about 82 in Memento. And then the new book that I started, which I'll tell you guys about in a second, I read about like 20 pages in it. So all those pages together, and that doesn't include my chapter of Sadie that I read, which I read about 4 chapters of that. So I'll have to add those total. That book's upstairs right now. So right now, with all that stuff, I read 321 pages, which actually is pretty good. So then the next book that I wound up starting last night, and I mean late last night, like we did this whole drive in like one day, and it's like an 8-hour car ride. So right when the sun was setting, I wound up starting Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is their new space adventure trilogy, and I'm really liking book 1. I've literally read about 36 pages in it, so I'm not that far in. But it basically, it's various point of views, but so this year's the graduation cadets of the Aurora Academy are seeing sign their first missions. Star pupil Tyler Jones is ready to recruit the squad of his dreams, but his own bonehead heroism sees him stuck with the dregs no one else in the academy wants. And that is because he winds up going on a space ride, which he's not supposed to do, and he winds up having to rescue Aurora from a very dangerous situation. And that's all that I've got so far. Aurora is a character that's basically out of time. You see her in the past, you see her in the present, and it's really, really compelling. The one thing I'm loving about the structure of this book is, first of all, it's hysterical. I don't know who is writing Tyler. I don't know who, I mean, obviously it's Amy and Jay, but they're just hysterical characters. But with the one thing about the structure, it's definitely not like Illuminae. It's not like a multimedia experience, but it's still super compelling. But the one thing I'm liking about the structure is like there's a past and present, and the line that like the sections go back. You know, there's a section about the past and the section about the present. The last line is the same on both, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now. I'm on page 36. And I hope to track a little bit more reading. My cousin's still sleeping, and I'm going to let her sleep as long as she can because she threw all day yesterday. Hopefully we can get the internet back and I can get my phone charged so I can actually do some Instagram photos. That would be nice. But yeah, so I'll definitely update you guys probably before we leave if I tackle a lot more of this book. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a small update. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. Sorry I have not been updating, but I have been super busy in Virginia and having so much fun with my cousin and a bunch of her friends. So I have been doing some reading whenever I have time, like when we're in cars or going places. I just haven't been reading as much as I want. And I know Booktubeathon technically ends today. So since I finished reading The Wicked Deep and Memento, I have read about 170 pages of Aurora Rising. And that's just been since Thursday night. So I've read about 170 pages, which is okay. It's not been great. But tomorrow after Booktubeathon, I really hope to tackle Aurora Rising, the end of it, on the car ride back to New York. But I'm really, really liking this book. I think this book is definitely like a space adventure. I think I've given you guys like a premise in some previous clips, but I'm just really loving it. I think it's so funny. Amy and Jay both are like really, really funny people, but the characters they write are super entertaining. I thought I would really miss the non-linear storytelling format that they had in Illuminate because I thought that was so brilliant. And I do miss that a little bit, but this book is just so well crafted. And I'm really, really enjoying all the point of view characters that we're getting. We get a lot more point of view characters than we ever did in Illuminate File, so I really like that. All the characters are so interesting and they're so compelling. It's a funny adventure, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I'm actually going to dive back into reading and hopefully get some reading done before my cousin wakes up. We had a very, very early date yesterday. My cousin and me, we did she did a 5K run, I did a 5K walk. But it was actually really, really, it was fun. It's been a very, very nice time in Virginia. I've been in Virginia before. I went to Busch Gardens a long, long time ago. And then I was here about like 8 years ago when she was in college, but we didn't really do anything when she was in college. So like we got to do like a lot of touristy stuff. I like went down to Virginia Beach. I went up to Norfolk. I went to a lot of bookshops. You guys will have a book haul coming up because I love to bookshop when I'm in a different state. That's what I do. So you guys will have a book haul coming up, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. Hopefully I can do a little bit more book shopping before we leave because I like to book shop. I really love to thrift store shop. But I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would like to do that. So yeah, that's my plans for today. I'm going to read before my cousin wakes up. Bring my book with me. She's also going out with friends, and I'm going to go somewhere else. So I'm definitely going to bring my book, and I'm definitely going to bring my audiobook of Empire of Storms because I really need to finish that audiobook before the end of the month. So that's the plan of attack for that. But I'll definitely update you guys probably tonight when I come back. I don't think tonight we're doing a lot of crazy things like we have been doing the past couple of days. So I'll be able to give you guys a more solid update of Aurora Rising. But I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye.
Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. I'm here to just like wrap up this video and just tell you all the books that I wound up finishing for the Reading Rushathon, and giving you my thoughts and stuff like that. So the first book that I wound up finishing for this was Granted, which was by John David Anders. And I wound up giving this book 3 stars. I thought it was super cute. This also fulfilled the prompt for a book that had a non-human main character. But I really love this book. I thought it was so cute and so sweet. And I just remember, like, it was just a fun adventure. I wound up giving this book, like, 3.5 stars. Thought it was such a fun read. And then the next book that I wound up finishing was, I think it was The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. And that was actually an audiobook that I wound up finishing. And I really love that book. I wound up giving that book 5 stars. It was so captivating. And I definitely have to read The Map from Here to There, like, soon. But that book fulfilled the prompt of reading a book that had 5 words in the title. And I also did listen to that book. And that book also became my first 5-star read of the Reading-a-thon. And then the next book that I wound up finishing was The Flash, Hocus Pocus by Barry Lyga. I actually really, really like this book. I've had this book for so long. I actually have Supergirl on my shelf. And I know it was supposed to be a movie adaptation, but I wound up watching an episode of the TV show, so it still counts. This book was so fun. I actually, like, really like this book. Sorry, I have a small cold. My allergies got, activated when I went to Virginia. But it basically was just like reading like a TV show. I really love the character of this. I really liked where this book picked up. It was just so fun. I definitely want to get the other books in this series because it reminds me of like maybe like a TV show. Like they're going to have like Loraxon and smaller thieves or smaller villains. But overall, I really like this book. I wound up giving this book 3.5 stars as well. Then I went away, or like was going away. So I wound up picking up The Wicked Deep by Shira Anjar. This book, like, really shocked me. And I love this book. I was so impressed by it. Basically follows this girl named Penny, and she lives in like this small town. And the thing with this town is that in the past, they wound up burning three sister witches, or killing them, drowning them. I'm sorry. So every year, these three spirits, these three sisters' ghosts come back, inhabit these girls, and kill the men in this town. So they kill these three boys. And you're following this book through Penny's point of view. There's a new boy that comes to town. It was such a captivating mystery. I loved it. I didn't see the twist coming. I thought it was so well crafted. Wound up giving this book like 4.75 stars. I really, really loved it. Loved the structure of it. It was so well done. Really, really. And I read this like practically all in the car on the way down to Virginia. And I also wound up reading Memento, which was the prequel to the Illuminae file series. I liked it. I didn't love it. I wound up giving that like 3 stars. Then I started Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Christoph, and I wound up finishing this book Monday. But starting it, I really, really liked it. So those are all of my brief thoughts on everything that I read during the Reading Rush-a-thon. I really loved this reading-thon. I wish I would have been home more to like track my page numbers, but that just didn't happen. So I'm going to wrap up this reading vlog and post it. Let me know in the comments, what challenges did you finish? Let's think. I wound up finishing Read a Book with a Non-Human Main Character. I read a book that was an author's first book in a series. The Flash kind of takes up 2 because it is a book that I decided that I wanted to read last year, and it does have to do with an adaptation. And then I did read and finish Memento, so it has purple on the cover. So I did wind up finishing 5 of the challenges, and I did finish this book on Monday. So I actually think I did a pretty good job. Oh, and then I did The Start of Me and You, so I actually did 6. So, and that has 5 words in the title. I definitely read more than 1,000 pages, and I definitely had a 5-star read. So I actually call this a success. I'm going to post this, and then I'm going to do my full reading wrap-up for the end of the month, but I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye.